A few people were kind enough to tell me they liked the Dragonfly I typed this morning. And it's just a variation of Trevor's Dragon. So some of the materials, I'm going to go ahead and tie it. I'm using a number 4. I think it's a 3X long, maybe a 4X long hook. This is the olive and red chenille. This is just a dark brown stretch, scud back. Doesn't matter the legs. This time I'm using, there's kind of a black and got a little red glitter. Little foam blank eye that I did myself. And then the body foam, which I've also cut to myself, to my own length. What I do is I take a X-Acto knife and I run it right down the middle so that I can fit it on the hook. I'm using olive thread, but I do like how it fits on the hook right in the middle. And I've already started the thread. So all I'm doing, I just get it started, and then it's actually loose wraps down. You don't want to compress the foam too much. You've probably seen others, heard Trevor, and when I get down to the back, then I kind of do. And then again, loose wraps, you don't want to compress it too much. So that's pretty much it with the foam. Then I take the chenille. Some people go ahead and pull off the front. I'm not really bothering on it because I'm not going all the way up to the eye. And then I literally just bring my thread back, get it out of the way. I'm probably adding a step, but in the end, I'm getting a result that I'm happy with, and I guess that's what most people would say is important. So now I just start wrapping it, touching wraps. Again, I'm not trying to press the foam down too much. And I just basically take it right back to the back half, and then I just tie it off. Probably could fish it just like that with the subsurface and probably catch some fish. Get my scissors out. It's not a long tie. For a guy like me, it's taking me 5 to 10 minutes, but I'm slow. So I've already pre-done the tail. You don't have to overdo this. And I'm coming in actually below where the chenille is, pretty tight wraps, then a couple loose wraps. And then I come in and I actually go underneath it a couple times just to get it to lay the way I want. And now I'm going to create a dubbing loop. And I'm probably about 6 inches. And then I just loosely bring this all the way up to the front. Take my dubbing. Again, I kind of put it in sparsely. You don't need a lot of this. Just feed it into the loop. And I go all the way down. And I just kind of do it to what I think might be a good look, because I know how loose I'm going to wrap it. And I've got olive, I've got peacock, I've got black. I've got various different colors in here. And I'm finding that about a 6-inch dubbing loop gets me right to the front where I need it to be. And I just kind of check my fibers, make sure they're evenly spread out, a little bit more. I don't know that you can overdub this. Just make sure it's in. Then I spin my loop, kind of get it started a little bit. I try not to overdo it. You guys probably watch it and say, hey, he's overdoing it, but I go by feel. And then I get my dubbing brush out. I usually kind of go at an angle. I don't like going perpendicular to it because I end up pulling too much of my dubbing out, or it gets caught like that. And then at this point, I just start to wrap it. And I just kind of feather it back. Once I get it started, now I'm going pretty loose palmering because I want the chenille. And you can see now, hopefully you can see that it's showing through. And I may have more than I need, but I'm not too far off. And at this point, I can just go ahead and tie it off. This would actually probably make a pretty good leech if I didn't have the foam in there. Go ahead and cut this off. I've taken my little shell back. I've already put a little triangle in there. Couple loose wraps on my side of the hook. And then once I get it about where I need it, I'll tie it down pretty tight. Then I got my eyes. I go ahead and just set these parallel so I can see about where the midpoint is in the eye. And then I drop it, which I think we all have done. And bind it down with a couple wraps. And I still don't like where I have it, so we'll move it just a little bit more. That should be almost perfect. Yep, okay. 2 of those, then I straighten it out. And I know you can't see very well, but now all I'm doing is just doing my figure 8 like everybody else is doing. And it does a pretty good job of staying together. I haven't seen that these eyes are rotating. And then I've got my legs already pre-cut. I think I took 2 full ones and made 4 out of it. Just kind of set them in here. I just want them to lay the way they kind of hang down. So I play with it, I manipulate it until I like it. Again, I'm still learning, so bear with me. I am not the greatest kind of figure 8 back behind it. Pretty tight, and I've got those looking good. And then I just take my little shell back. And what I'll do, let's see, just try to make sure I got it laying flat. I'm going to aim it towards me a little bit. Loose wrap here. Get the leg out. And that looks pretty good. And then all I'm doing is just finishing off my wing case. And I just pull it forward. Assuming I can see what the heck I'm doing. Got a little V there. And then finish it off like that. And now I'm ready for a whip finish. And then I'll comb it out and trim the legs to shape. And just for my own taste, I usually do a couple of these. Some of you guys use glue. I'm not using glue, but you can. Snug that in, trim it off. And then I just kind of get my legs to about where I think they should be, which for me is just short of the back of the hook. There's that. Another 4. And then I just take a brush and kind of clean it up a little bit. And then what I like to do is I like to just hold it in my hand, take some scissors, come in. I kind of clean it up in the underneath, just a little bit. Get some of the longer hairs out. Plus I don't want my hook getting all tangled. And then I just kind of shape it at the end. If I feel like it's a little too long, come in and clean it up, but there it is. That is Trevor's dragon. That is my version of it. And I'll throw it in some water. I don't know if you can see this, but I'll put it in water. And it's pretty neutral buoyant. This thing will actually just sit up. The bottom will literally, it just kind of sits in the water, just like that. And I'm sure after several casts, I could actually have it to where it will sink very slowly, but I got just a nice buoyancy to where the head rides up just a little bit, but pull the legs out and there you go. That's what she looks like. I think it'll fish very well.